Hello and welcome to this free online course about how you can actually apply holistic health to your real life. I work with a lot of people who are chronically ill, a lot of people with chronic pain, chronic inflammation, also neurodivergence, but this is really for anybody who's interested in holistic health and wants to actually know how to weed through all the advice out there on the internet. I'm going to get into a little bit about me first. Not first, I'm going to get into a little bit about me here in a minute, but first I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I am neurodivergent and I don't like looking at myself talk forever, so I have prepared a visually pleasing presentation for you. So sharing screen, it's considering it. It's going to take just a second. Okay, so this online course is actually about my Regenerate Your Health method and how you can apply it to your daily life. Regenerate Your Health is, I always say, it is the answer to when you have been burned by holistic health practitioners who promised the world and couldn't deliver. You're in chronic pain, you're chronically ill, or you're struggling with chronic symptoms, whether they're physical or mental. And this can go anywhere from, like, I help people all the way from just vague gut health issues to rheumatoid arthritis. So it really depends on what you need. It's completely applicable to your point in your life. It can be done next to any therapy medication providers you're already working with. It's an addition. It creates a holistic perspective on your health context without taking away from what you're doing. And the most important thing is, you're struggling and you don't know where to go from here. That's what this is for. So what this method helps with, and I always pause here and say, number one, I need you to realize I understand chronic health issues are chronic. And some things you can put fully into remission. Like, I have a lot of success with the people who have vague gut health issues who you can get it completely healed. But when you're dealing with some sort of advanced stage chronic issue, chronic health issue diagnosis, whatever, we're actually looking at improving quality of life. So that can look like if you have chronic fatigue, more stable energy days, chronic pain management, you have less pain days, chronic illness management, you have less sick days. So a few years ago, I'll get into this more later, but a few years ago, I was completely unable to work. I was sick all of the time. I had extreme chronic pain every day, and I'm in about 90% remission. And that means that instead of having daily pain, I'm having pain days 3 or 4 days a month. So imagine how that could change your life. If you're struggling with bad sleep, you can have an improved quality of sleep, mental health struggles like depression, trauma, burnout, anxiety. Number one, when you're struggling with stuff like that, I always recommend working with a therapist next to me, a psychologist specifically. I am a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. Self-empowerment, so giving you the tools to understand what your body actually needs, because there's so much random health advice out there. And then self-confidence, the knowledge, mindset, and ability to critically evaluate any of that weird random health advice you hear. So about me, my name is Sierra. Like I said, I've struggled with chronic illness and chronic pain. Mine stems from trauma. The first 20 years of my life, I went through extensive trauma, a lot of abuse, a lot of neglect. And this ultimately manifested in MSES, which I have confirmed via private lab testing, POTS, which is technically not confirmed, but my mom has it and I have every symptom. ADHD diagnosed, CPTSD diagnosed, IBS diagnosed, and it got to the point where I wasn't able to be helped anymore by Western medicine. I had 10 courses of antibiotics in a year, 3 surgeries. It was to the point that I was sick with constant infections every month. 2 or 3 weeks a month, I would be sick. And this would have been going on for 2 years. So that is what led me to start studying traditional European naturopathy, because, okay, find me a chronically ill person who has never been given absolute ridiculous advice. So I spent all my money to go to all these therapists, and like they would say things like, oh, take this special seaweed and everything will be fine, or, oh, never eat chocolate again and everything will be fine. And like that's not gonna fix your life. And also I don't believe in that type of restriction. So that's what led me to ultimately becoming a naturopath. And I had my acute infections under control within a month after 2 years of misery. It's just, I look back on it, I don't even know how I did it I mean, I know how I did it, but I don't know how I survived those 2 years. It was just not a good way. It was a miserable way to live. But yes, I am an expat. I grew up in the United States. I moved to the Netherlands 7 years ago. I am a mom of 2, happily married, and a Sphinx cat mom ×3. It could be that one of my cats jumps on me partway through this recording, in which case I apologize. They have a mind of their own. So how do we actually achieve this? I am aware these are very big claims. So I actually have a roadmap on the 7 things that actually matter, but it's also important to realize that this approach is integrative, collaborative, safe, affordable, and applicable. So I'm not trying to sell you things you can't afford. I do have one-on-one coaching, and I always, we'll talk, that doesn't matter, but it's important to realize this is integrative, collaborative, safe, affordable, and applicable. So these are my 7 tenets. These are the 7 things that changed my life. Now, I put them in a different order, one that would have helped me get better a lot faster if I had done it in this order. But this is what matters. Number 1, rest and digest. Your body cannot heal if you're dysregulated. Yes, I'm talking about the nervous system. First, we calm down the nervous system. We demystify what nervous system regulation actually is, because that's become such a buzzword, and it is not just sitting on TikTok tapping your shoulders. And we learn how to apply small actionable steps to our daily lives. Number 2 is nutrition. We take apart what a balanced diet actually needs and why this is so important, and then help replenish your body so it has the strength to heal. An undernourished body cannot heal, and also your weight is not an indication of nourishment. You can be overweight and be undernourished. You can be underweight and absolutely overloading your digestive system with too many nutrients. That is a thing. So number 3 is detox pathways, and pause right there, because as soon as I bring up detox pathways, one of 2 things happens. Half the people in the room get really excited and think I'm about to tell them about some magical herb just discovered in the Amazon that can change their whole life, and it's going to cleanse all whatever they think needs cleansing. And the other half shuts down completely and says, I don't need a detox. I have a liver. Okay, I'm not talking about another sketchy online detox trend. I am talking about how our bodies remove waste through our livers, our digestive systems, our kidneys, our skin. If you were assigned female at birth, your menstrual cycle, your lymphatic system, and your airways. In this step, you look at how to support those detox pathways and why it matters. And this is just an overview, by the way. We're going to go through all of these one by one. Number 4 is herbal medicine. We're going to talk about when you'd use it, why you'd use it, when to avoid it, and how to apply it in real life. And I actually have a really cool method to make herbal medicine applicable in real life to people. So number 5 is lifestyle and environment. Learn how your lifestyle and environment affects your chronic health struggles and how to manage this in a healthy way. Number 6 is self-empowerment. So unlike other naturopaths, I don't want you to come back every other week. I want you to know how to take charge of your health yourself. And finally, with every client, I close with my risk management evaluator tool. This is freely available. So if you would like this tool, make sure you send me an email, contact me on social media. However you found this, get a hold of me, and I can give it to you for free. And we're going to cover this later in the presentation, but I teach you how to critically evaluate new health information you hear to see if it applies to you personally. This stuff is not like, there's so much random advice out there, and you have to make sure that it's applicable to you. It's not going to be safe if it's not even suitable for you. So going right into those tenets, the first one, like I said, is the nervous system. Rest and digest, learning to care for your nervous system. So nervous system regulation has become such a buzzword. Sorry. Oh, got completely distracted. Nervous system regulation has become such a buzzword, and all nervous system regulation means is parasympathetic, which is your rest nervous system, and sympathetic, which is your activity and alert nervous system. Nervous system regulation in one sentence is when you can be in parasympathetic or rest and digest when you need to be, and when you can be in sympathetic activity and alert when you need to be. All regulation is it means you can move from one and into the other, back and forth as necessary. So where this goes wrong is, number 1, when you're living with chronic illness. Chronic stress is a big one. Trauma. You usually get stuck in you usually get stuck in the sympathetic nervous system, which is your activity and alertness. Sometimes you can go the other way and get stuck in parasympathetic, that you're really unable to function anymore. Or well, you don't really get stuck in parasympathetic. People think you're stuck in parasympathetic because you're not able to work or function anymore. Really, what I generally see is people are stuck in freeze. But my point being, you're not able to move from one to the other. So with every single person I work with, the first thing we learn about is how the nervous system works and small daily steps you can use to move in and out of those as needed. When you're out functioning, you're walking your dog, you're exercising, you're jogging, you're doing the school pickup, whatever it is, that's sympathetic activity and alert. And it's important to have healthy sympathetic outlets. When you're in chronic stress, okay, I want you to imagine that you are walking in some mountainous, woody area, and suddenly there's a wolf in the middle of your path. And then you realize it's not just a wolf, it's a whole pack of wolves, and they look like they want to eat you. What's going to happen in your body? You're going to start breathing differently. Your breath is going to come up. Your face is going to flush. Your blood and everything non-essential to surviving the next 10 minutes is going to go out. It's not necessary anymore. So that's what happens when your sympathetic nervous system is highly activated through acute stress. But what happens when you're living with chronic stress? Do you think your body is sending a lot, like your brain thinks there's a wolf in front of you? Do you think your body's sending a lot of energy to support your digestion, to support your skin, to support your menstrual health, to support all these other things? No, we have to start with the nervous system and teach you how to rest into parasympathetic and how to use sympathetic activation when it's needed. The next part is of nervous system regulation is mindset and mentality. So this is actually how we do that. So aside from the fact that I recommend everyone have some sort of physical exercise, whether that, and number one, this isn't like generic, like go to the gym for half an hour and you'll be healthy. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, find some way to move your body, because moving your body breaks down adrenaline and it calms down your nervous system, especially when you're dealing with chronic stress. It's not optional. It's so important. If you cannot, I work with people who can't even get out of bed. And there are ways that's really specific, so I'm not going to get into it too much right now, but you can find ways to apply this, but it's really important that you understand why you need to apply it. Then for the parasympathetic side, we work a lot on mindset and mentality. So these are daily practice to focus your energy into positive places. This can be manifestation, prayer, meditation, affirmations, gratitude, visualization. I really like yoga nidra. It doesn't matter really what it is as long as you're doing it. You have to think of it as like strength training, okay? This is not something that you do it once and you feel better. This is like food for your nervous system. You can't live very long if you stop eating and drinking. Your nervous system can't regulate very long, especially in this world, if you're not caring for it. The next step in these 7 things is the 4 N's of nutrition. That's what I call the non-negotiable nutritional needs, the 4 N's. Number 1 is fat. Fat supports hormone production, your nervous system production, blood sugar stability, anti-inflammatory support, absorption of vitamins A, D, E, and K. That's specifically because those are fat-soluble vitamins. If your diet does not contain enough fat or the right fat, you can't absorb those vitamins, and those are essential nutrients. The hormone production, your hormones are made of cholesterol. And when you're not consuming enough, it's going to cause disbalances. So foods rich in healthy fats that we should all be consuming as basis of our diet would be things like olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, fatty fish like salmon and sardines, eggs. Grass-fed butter is ideal. If you can't afford grass-fed, just some butter. Full-fat yogurt and tahini. There are other things. This is not an exhaustive list. The next one on my non-negotiable nutritional needs would be fiber. Fiber is one that I feel like she's going to have her heyday soon. Fiber is unmissable for microbiome health. It feeds the good bacteria in your gut. It helps support stable digestion. It helps regulate your blood sugar. It helps your hormonal balance, and it lowers overall chronic disease risk. Foods rich in fiber would be fruits and vegetables, legumes, oats, chia seeds, flaxseed, whole grains, lentils, beans, and leafy greens. Protein is another non-negotiable nutritional need. Every single person has to be consuming protein. Now, this can look different. So someone with chronic kidney disease, it's going to look different than someone who doesn't have something like that, but we do all need protein in one form or another. It helps with blood sugar stability, hormone and neurotransmitter production, immune system strength, muscle repair and metabolism, tissue repair. So if you're dealing with an injury, you're dealing with a weak gut, you're trying to heal your tissue, you have to be eating protein. It maintains muscle mass. It prevents fatigue from undereating. It supports gut healing, and it supports the integrity of the gut lining. Again, this has to do with the tissue repair. Your tissue cannot repair if it doesn't have the amino acids and the proteins needed to build the tissue. Foods rich in protein would be chicken, beef, fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, tofu, tempeh, legumes, beans, quinoa, and lentils. I do not recommend one diet over another, which surprises a lot of people. I really don't care if you're a vegetarian or if you're eating more like an ancestral diet, or whatever works for you is fine, but it does have to have these non-negotiable nutritional needs. If you're not consuming one of these completely, it's going to lead to disbalances in your body. And the last one is carbohydrates. I get a lot of flack for this. There's still a lot from the keto movement, from the Atkins diet, that carbohydrates aren't good. But the thing is, carbohydrates are your body's primary energy source. But it's not just that. You need carbohydrates to regulate your nervous system. They reduce cortisol spikes. They help your body feel safe. If you're trying to heal from trauma, if you're trying to heal from chronic stress, if you're trying to balance your nervous system, but you're not consuming any carbohydrates, you're going to be missing out. Carbohydrates are also vital for hormonal health. Too few carbs create cycle disruption and hormonal imbalance. They support the gut microbiome, often because they contain resistant starches, or also fibers come together with them, and they can improve your physical performance. So foods rich in healthy carbs would be potatoes. Yes, I'm serious. Potatoes are a really good healthy carb source. Sweet potatoes, rice, oats, fruit, quinoa, legumes, root vegetables, whole grains, and sourdough bread. So the next one we talk about is the detox pathways. And like I said, this is where people either get really excited or they hack off. And I never found someone who knew what I was going to say. So we're going to talk about how your body eliminates waste products. We all know our body makes waste products. It's literally anything our body makes that it doesn't need. We're not a self-sustaining organism. Okay, we have food, we have waste. So the primary detoxifier in your body is your liver, and it filters your blood. The primary elimination method of the liver is bile. The kidneys work together with the liver also to detoxify the blood, and the elimination method is urine. The large intestine is your body's most direct eliminator, and the elimination method is stool. Your skin is your body's exterior protection, the line between the inside and the outside, and the elimination method. The healthiest is sweat, but you also see acne, pustules, etc. The reproductive system for people assigned female at birth, it is your hormonal reproductive system, and you have your menstrual cycle is also a form of elimination. Then you have the lymphatic system, and this is really, a lot of people who are into detox hear about the lymphatic system, but it's not the first one I treat, and here's why. It has drainage. It helps with drainage and immune transportation within your body. It moves waste and pathogens, excess fluid, and immune cells. So it is important to support it, but it eliminates through lymphatic circulation, which is returned to the bloodstream, filtered by the liver, and excreted through bile, urine, and stool. So it's more important, like if you want to support your lymphatic system, that's great, but support the liver, kidneys, and large intestine first. And then finally, the one that kind of surprises people, because we don't consciously think of it as a detox organ, is your lungs. They are responsible for gas exchange, and they release volatile waste products. So you're exhaling carbon dioxide, you're exhaling gases and airborne waste products. That's through your lungs. That's also waste reduction. So I want you to think about with the detox pathways. Imagine you buy a brand new car. And Or maybe, let's say you didn't, let's start with a secondhand car, because you've bought this car, you don't know the last time the oil was changed, but it runs fine. And you keep driving it and you haven't changed the oil, and the oil light comes on and you haven't changed the oil, and you keep driving, and think about how dirty that oil is going to get. Now imagine, I'm sorry to equate you to a secondhand car, but imagine you are the secondhand car. You have some genetic things going on. You have some chronic health things going on. You aren't quite sure what's going on, but it kind of works. So you're not sure how to manage that light. You don't know how to change the oil yourself. So I don't know, you just try to ignore it. Okay? Imagine that oil in the car is the bile in your liver or your urine or your stool or one of these other pathways, and it's congested. It's getting really dirty, and for whatever reason. So think about how chronic illness works, chronic inflammation. Your body is building up. Inflammation creates swelling, and that causes waste products like lactic acid to form. If you're not able to sufficiently cleanse it, and you're dealing with chronic pain every day, so you can assume you have a high level of these waste products, you're dealing with it every day. So when I'm talking about a detox, I'm not saying, let's feed you a bunch of really weird things from the Amazon. I'm saying, let's support your liver and kidneys and large intestine and skin and reproductive system and lymphatic system and lungs. Let's support them. It's like an oil change within your body. It's like cleaning the oil within your body when you know that your oil is actually a bit more intensely taxed than someone who maybe doesn't have those health issues. So how do we do that? Well, I can do a whole workshop on that alone. I don't start with herbal medicine for that. Actually, I start with the basics, drinking water, eating enough fiber, but we've already talked about those things. Another thing I really like to work with is herbal medicine. And you can see here, I have these 6 types. And I always explain, I can explain you all the science about why and how it works, but most people don't really want to know that. They want to know what it feels like, how it affects them, how it's going to help them. So I've broken it up into 6 character types, starting with the grandmas. Grandmas, I always say, are the nervine herbs to soothe an overwhelmed spirit. And you remember when you were a kid, or maybe if you didn't have it, maybe you didn't have a good childhood, but imagine how it would be to be a little kid and you've just stubbed your toe or fallen down, you've hurt yourself somehow. And you're sitting in grandma's living room and there's warm light streaming in, and she picks you up in her rocker and you're crying, and she just rocks you and tells you that it's okay. And in a minute or after a few minutes, you feel better. That's what these herbs feel like. Examples of these would be oat straw, lemon balm, and chamomile. Then you have the movers, circulatory and digestive herbs, and these are herbs for when everything feels sleepy, stagnant, and stuck. So that can be in your digestive system, but it can also be in your mental health, these herbs work very powerfully. Examples of this would be ginger, fennel, and bitter herbs. Especially love the bitter herbs because they help bile flow in the liver. Then I have what I call the mother herbs. These are nutritive herbs. So think about, again, I don't know what kind of childhood you had, but imagine a child whose mom always made sure there was warm food on the table, healthy food on the table, that, this is the mom who would sit down and have a tea and cookie with you after school. That's what these herbs are. These herbs are for when you're completely depleted and you have nothing left to give. They help nourish and rebuild you from the inside out. They tend to be very high in vitamins, minerals, herbal compounds that help you absorb your nutrients. Examples of these would be nettles, oat straw, and alfalfa. Then you have the security guards. So these are anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and tissue protective herbs. These are the herbs that are basically going to come into your body and say, all right, come on, we're gonna protect this. These are herbs for people struggling with chronic inflammation, low immunity, you're constantly sick, or you're struggling with chronic pain. Examples would be turmeric, rose hips, and nettles. Then you have the cleaners. So you walk into your office, wherever you work, your house, whatever, and everything, it looks like a pigsty. Okay, you don't know what's going on. Imagine what relief you would feel if you had a whole team of people coming in to help you clean it out. That's what these herbs do. They are for when you feel congested, stagnated, and are struggling with brain fog and exhaustion. They give you clarity in confusion. Clarity in confusion, not clarity and confusion, just to be clear. Examples of this would be dandelion, common mallow, and nettles. And the doctor herbs. That's the last group I teach, and these are herbs for deep organ and gland support. These herbs are specifically for people struggling with long-term illness, whether physical or mental, and examples of them would be things like milk thistle, goldenrod, and calendula. These are for people who are really struggling. I really want to go more into this. I tried to put as much as I could into this PowerPoint, but because we're going over all 7 things that changed my life right now, I am not able to go too much more in depth. I do want to do another training on this soon, so make sure you're following me wherever you found me, social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I actually don't really use Facebook for work, but Instagram, TikTok, Threads, wherever you found me, make sure you're following along because I will share when I make new workshops. So the next thing I talk about is lifestyle and environment, and this was a really big one for me. There's a lot of fear mongering, okay? There's microplastics, your genes are bad, there's toxins, chemtrails. That's all outside of your circle of influence. One of the most important things to recognize when you are wanting to heal is what can you influence and what can you not influence. I didn't get good genes. I have chronic health issues. I'm neurodivergent. I have chronic pain. I have all of these things and I can't control that. I can control things like nutrition, relationships, boundaries, my home, my work, my family, my pets, my mindset, my beliefs, and behavior. These are the things I choose to focus my energy into. It's conscious, okay? If I sat and read the news every morning, I would freak out. I can't control the news, genetics. I can't control global toxins or my food sourcing. I don't know where the carrots in my fridge were grown. I wish I had that organic biodynamic farm, but I don't have that. I can't control politics. I can't control unverified theories that are outside of my reach. I can't control the beliefs of others. When you start looking at this and critically evaluating, is this something I control? It becomes a lot easier to let go of the stress. Now, this is a huge pillar of my program, self-empowerment. Anybody who knows me knows that I talk about this all the time. Because there are so many naturopaths who don't talk about this. They don't talk about it at all. They don't talk about it enough. I don't want to keep you coming back to me. I don't want you to come to me at all. If this helps you enough, to get you on the right path with your health, that's what I want. But it all comes down to, do you want to heal? And again, I'm not talking about putting yourself into full remission and never having a chronic illness again. Some chronic illnesses are indeed chronic. But do you want to have a better quality of life? Do you believe you can? Your belief matters. Are you ready to take the steps? I'm here to tell you, you are capable, you are strong, you can do it one day at a time. And then this is the one I always close with. This is thinking critically. This is my risk management evaluator tool I mentioned before. Like I said, I can send this to anybody who wants it for free. I'm in this to help. So these are all the questions that I teach people to ask. When you say you're scrolling TikTok and you see some new trend diet and it's making all of these big claims that how it's going to help your chronic illness, it's going to help so much. Is it holistic? Okay. And when I'm saying, is it holistic? I don't mean, is it holistic? Is it natural? I mean, is it holistic? Does it consider all parts of you, body, mind, emotions, and environment? Is it just treating a symptom or is it supporting the root cause? Would it still make sense in the context of your long-term health goals? You've seen a new diet on TikTok and it has, it's saying protein's bad. Protein is acidifying. So we're going to look at it. Is it balanced? Does it meet your 4 N's, your non-negotiable nutritional needs? Is there enough fat? Is there enough fiber? Is there enough protein? Are there enough carbohydrates? Does it add to your nourishment or does it take something away? Is it sustainable for your body and your lifestyle? Is it individualized? Does this advice apply to your body, cycle, age, and health status? Was it designed for a specific group? And if so, are you part of it? Do you have enough data about yourself, symptoms, understanding, context, etc., to even apply it? Is it rooted in reason? Does the source explain how and why it works, or does it just promise results? Are there multiple credible sources or just one influencer? Can you trace it to any form of science, traditional practice, or lived experience? Now, that's a big one because not every single thing has double-blind peer-reviewed studies. I wish it did, but it matters to me at least if it has also traditional practice and lived experience to back it up. If you're not comfortable with that, though, that's also okay. If you want those peer-reviewed studies, it's okay. You can choose that. You're in control here. Is it regulating or dysregulating? Does it help your nervous system feel calmer, steadier, or more at ease? Or does it add stress, fear, urgency, or guilt to your healing process? If it's spiking your anxiety or self-doubt or uncertainty, it is not medicine for you. And finally, is it contraindicated? Do you have any medications or conditions that might conflict? Are there any red flags like one size fits all or miracle cure? And how might it impact your mental state? Are you going to fall into restriction or obsession or fear? If so, it's not good for you. So moving forward, I really believe with everything in me in accessibility. This information belongs in the hands of the people. So with this in mind, I created option 1, which is my school community. It is best for beginners who want to know more and think this method might have something to give them. This community, I'm probably way undercharging for it, but like I said, I believe this has to be accessible. The Regenerate, you get this course, this video you're watching right now will be available on demand. You get monthly practical workshops just like this one, but instead of talking about the overall theory, we're going to talk about things like chronic pain, nutrition, nervous system, herbal medicine, etc. in your feed in this community. You get one time a week, you get a nervous system care session. So that's going to be yoga nidra, meditation, mindset, etc. Remember in the beginning, the parasympathetic nervous system we talked about? That's what we're talking about here. You get access to my extensive holistic health resource library. So those herbal medicine characters I showed you, they're in there. The risk management evaluator I showed you, they're in there, available all the time. You get the basic package of all my personalities of herbal medicine. You get behind the scenes, like how I actually apply this to my life as a chronically ill spoonie, monthly community challenges, a weekly win thread, a weekly mindset reset thread for community building and ongoing support. And you get 10% discount if you decide, hey, I still need more help. Then we're going to do a 10% discount on group coaching. The cost is a 7-day free trial. This needs to be accessible. And then it starts at only $33 a month. It's cheaper than your copay, okay? It's cheaper than takeout. It's cheaper than getting a Starbucks once a week. So option 2 is a 20-minute one-on-one session. These are best suited for acute symptoms, for one-on-one support during a flare, or for acute illnesses when you need specific targeted advice. This is a 20-minute one-on-one session with me personally to review what's happening and what's the easiest next step you can take to improve your health or relieve your symptoms as soon as possible. It is worth noting this is one symptom and it's very targeted. I can't do your whole health history in 20 minutes. I wish I could, but that's what option 3 is for. This is full one-on-one coaching. So you're going to get this method, but in a 12-week program. You get 12 weeks of my full attention. This is best suited for people who want to feel better yesterday. It offers the fastest results. The first 4 weeks, we have weekly hour-long sessions to set the foundation and do a deep dive into everything we've just talked about. Homework, you get self-reflections. And again, this isn't homework like grade school that you're in trouble if you didn't do it. This is genuinely stuff that's going to help you. So like your homework, it's going to be, how can I apply these nutritional foundations in my actual life, the non-negotiable nutritional needs. Self-reflections, where am I struggling with most? Are there hang-ups that I have about this nutrition advice? I never force you to do anything. I always want you to feel comfortable and confident. Then in weeks 5 through 12, we have an appointment every other week as you learn to apply these principles to your own life step by step with specific targeted feedback for you, your health history, your symptoms, and your life. The cost is 1,444 euros. Again, this is 12 weeks of coaching. You do get private messaging and all downloadable resources alongside the program, and there is a payment plan available. So I don't like to close with just leaving it like, ta-da, that's it. I want to make this applicable to your life. So I want you to go back to, I'm going to flip back to the beginning. Where is it? Here we go. Flip back to the beginning. Think about these 7 tenets of holistic health. These are the 7 things that saved my life. Think about what's one thing you can do in the next day or 2. One small thing. Maybe if you pick the nervous system, you're going to say, hey, I'm going to look up a meditation on YouTube or Spotify or something and do it. Nutrition, hey, how can I balance the next meal I eat? Look at these 7 things and see what you can actually do to improve your quality of life in the next 24 hours. This is applicable. And that's where the beauty of the school community comes in as well, by the way, because you're doing it not alone, you're doing it with other people. But anyway, I'm going to stop sharing, head back over. That is our workshop today. These are the 7 things that saved my life in a holistic manner. And I am so excited that you've watched, that you've followed along. Feel free to reach out with questions. I promise you, I am here to help. Okay. If you have any question, you can always message me, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. I'm available on all of them. I will put my contact information in the description of this video below, and I can't wait to hear from you soon. And I am so glad and grateful that you tuned in. Have a lovely day there. Bye.